All right, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Pump Fake. Jarrett Bailey with you as always, joined for the first time by some miracle of God for the first time. Derek Brown of Fantasy Pros. Hi, buddy. It's good to see you.
That's one hell of a lead in, Bailey. I love it, man. Yeah, it's a good day, dude. You know,
We've been buddies for a little bit. This is the first time you've been on here, so I feel bad.
I mean, we've tried to do this before, but
dude, I fell asleep
schedules
that
and
one time, and I felt so fucking bad.
Oh, I forgot about that. Holy shit. I totally forgot about that. When you I was gonna sit here and go through like the whole spiel of life and things and stuff happen. I forgot.
It was like the month before. It was like the month before the Senior Bowl. The month before the Senior Bowl, I sent you like, "Hey, you want to do a show?" And we set it for like 7. I wake up, it's like 7. No. It was early afternoon because you had to like pick up your kid from somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I gotta go get my kid. I'm like,
oh
fuck, I'm sorry.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That's funny, man. I didn't mean to. I wouldn't try to just blindly set you up to
no, it's okay.
dump on yourself, but I mean, it works. It's all good.
I went through a stretch where I was just exhausted all the time, and you just caught the bad end of the stick there, buddy. But I'm glad that you're here now. if that makes you feel better.
You know what? I feel great about that, Jarrett. I'm glad we finally did this.
Me too.
I know we're just kind of, going off the cuff today and rolling through some topics and stuff, dude. But I mean, what better do we have to do on a Friday right now, a little bit closer to the NFL draft? So we're just waiting, which at this point, man, I mean, come on. Are we at the point of the process at this point to where it's like, come on, the draft needs to get here like now? Like, I feel like we're just gotten to the point where it's just bullshit and just information's getting recycled at this point.
No, I agree. I think that it's more than past time just to move the draft up to like mid-April instead of end of April. I think that makes sense. Like you can keep all the off-season programming stuff the exact same, but stop making us wait an entire 2 months after the combine until we get to see where these guys go.
NFL's not going to do that. They got to drag it out of you, Jared. Like they got to be like, nah, just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, what's everybody on NFL Network going to talk about for those 2 months, and everybody else on the respective programming to make us really want it. But from a pure just wanting to get it done and over with and tired of waiting standpoint, I think we have reached that point where we're just like, all right, let's just do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, takes are getting recycled upon takes. People are, out in the streets and kind of, the spot of boredom where we're ranking Jalen Hyatt as wide receiver 1 and Luke Musgrave as tight end 1. I'm like, we're out here wilding, man. Just waiting for the draft. Everybody's wilding a little bit.
It's the point where everybody's looking a little bit too far into things, I think.
Overanalysis, baby, always.
Gotta love it. We'll start with something that definitely hasn't been talked about enough this offseason. Lamar Jackson.
Nobody's mentioned him in like the last 30 minutes. It's all good.
Also, you know what? I'm gonna join you with the being a backwards hat kind of guy for this show.
Oh, are you not usually? You just do it?
I am usually. This one just is one of the rare ones that looks good on my hat or on my head forward because the brim just goes lower than most, and it's not a long brim. So usually I'm a hat forward kind of guy if I find it, but hat backwards is never bad. Plus, the way this ring light is hitting right now, it's a white one. You can't really see that there's pinstripes on it. I look like I'm emerging from Nazareth. But regardless, Lamar Jackson. I sent out a tweet earlier that if Baltimore, it does seem likely that they're going to have to, move on in life without Lamar Jackson. And if that's the case, then I think if we haven't reached the point yet, we're reaching a point where they need to start figuring out what that life is going to look like. And I think best case scenario for them is get a veteran that is reliable for a year, not necessarily a long-term guy, but a bridge guy, and follow that up by drafting somebody who can be that next franchise guy. And to me, those two guys that would go hand in glove would be, speaking of bridges, Teddy Bridgewater and drafting Hendon Hooker. Your thoughts on that? Well, I guess I can give a little bit of backup. One, Teddy Bridgewater, not necessarily a starter anymore, like a long-term starter, fine bridge guy, one of the better backups you can find. Hendon Hooker, first-round talent. If he doesn't get hurt, he probably goes first round. I mean, you got. I would think so. I mean, we can differ. We can differ opinions on like his talent per se, but I think he would have gone in the first round had he stayed healthy. I mean, you got people mocking him at number 5 to Seattle, even though he did get hurt.
Yeah, about that. There's a reason that why some people are tagged with the label of former GM and not current. I'll throw that out there without trying to bury anybody. But I'll push back, man. Like, and it's not like I don't dislike Hendon Hooker. Like, I have him ranked where I think everybody else has him ranked, like QB5 of this class and stuff. And it's not me disliking Hendon Hooker, but like, do I look at him as like he should have been a first round guy if he stayed healthy? No. Like, he had a good career, not an amazing career. He had a really good season at Tennessee, not a fantastic, like, knockdown, drag out type of thing. And the other thing, I mean, like, look, yeah, we all make our jokes that he's 25, but that also, it enters the process. When you're going to, if you were to finish as a first round draft pick and the time you're finishing your rookie contract, he's 30 years old. Like, I mean, it comes into play, man. Like, we're talking about the window as these rookie contracts and stuff like that. Like, with Hendon Hooker, like, he's a guy that's going to have to go into a system. Like, my whole thing about like where he fits and everything, you have to look at him as being a starter right now, or at least in the next year, because there's no way in hell he's going to go to a situation where he sits for the next 2 to 3 seasons and then what? He's a 27-year-old. You're just now figuring out, like, okay, can he be our quarterback or not? Like, no. Like, that makes zero sense. So, like, I've never viewed Hendon Hooker, I still don't, as ever being a first-round prospect. I don't have a problem. Like, I'd have a second-round grade for him, but I don't think he would have ever or should have ever made it into the first round outside of people mocking him top 5 just for damn clicks. So, I mean, I don't hate if Baltimore were to go that direction, considering the situation with Lamar. And the funny thing is, you threw this to me earlier today about like the combo of Teddy and Hendon. And I was like, Teddy Bridgewater was a guy that I firmly agree could easily land in Baltimore. Like, if they were to move on from Lamar, and instead of saying, okay, we need to draft a guy, like say they pull the deal with the Colts, they get the 4th pick, but they're not in love with any of those guys. Okay, fine. Just sign Teddy to like a 2-year deal, basically a 1-year deal with some second-year low guaranteed money. He could be a serviceable backup for you, even if you're drafting him, and then you go and roll out there with Teddy this year and figure out the quarterback position next year. Like, if there's not a guy in this class, even if they were to trade up to the 4th pick, that they're like, we love this guy. Like, say the top 3 picks go Stroud, Young, and A-Rich. And they're sitting there staring at Will Levis, and they're like, well, we don't really like Will Levis. Like, he's not the top guy on their board, or they weren't high on him during the entire process. Then fine, just punt the quarterback position to next year. Go out there, run the ball, install Monken's offense, try to, whether they're going to, in that process, build up the skill position. Like, if they were to trade back from 4, add more to the offense and the defense, because the defense is declining a little bit in the sense that, like, they lost a bunch of secondary guys. Marcus Peters is a free agent. I think there's a good thing to be said for a few different routes the Ravens could take in this draft. And even if they were to get a top 5 pick, not going quarterback, I think is also on the board. Even if they were to, like, say, like, we're just not going to address the quarterback position in this draft, we're going to take a high-end edge rusher or what have you. I think we really can't rule anything out, and I don't think it would be a bad way to approach the season for them.
Even if they don't decide to draft a guy next year, like if they wanted to go after someone like Kirk Cousins, who's going to likely be available, or if they wanted themselves to make a move for a guy like Trey Lance, depending on what San Francisco does, like they have options outside of having to start fresh with the rookie. Even if, drafting a guy and using him as a bridge for someone that they draft isn't something that they want to do. There's still guys out there that they can, mortgage their future on and, try to get. I think that Trey Lance is someone that is kind of a wild card on all this for them.
I think a good name for them too. If they were to not address quarterback this year, could they just go out and we don't know what Tennessee's going to do. Could Baltimore just say we'll sit here and trade for Ryan Tannehill, or sign him after the season? I think Kirk Cousins is a good name that you mentioned there too. I think that we could be seeing a philosophy transition in Baltimore from all the time with Lamar and stuff, and maybe they could go with a pocket passer. It's one of the big reasons why this entire offseason I've had a lot of interest in J.K. Dobbins, because he's not seen in the same ilk as some other really talented running backs. Now, a lot of that's been because of injury and stuff like that. But when he's been on the NFL field, the dude's been, he pops in damn near everything you look at for running backs as far as efficiency. I think he can handle a decent workload, and we haven't seen him catch any passes because, it's been in Baltimore and you've had nothing but Lamar under center. So that's just not what they do. So is he a player that could go out and have a career best season this year if things were to shift? If you saw Bridgewater under center, or they were to trade for Ryan Tannehill or something of that nature, I think that J.K. Dobbins could be a guy who could be walking into a good situation for possibly a career year, and nobody's talking about it.
Now, in terms of where Lamar goes after that, everybody seems to come out every day with one of those big cheerleading mega horns and just saying, we don't want him. We're not trading for Lamar Jackson. Don't worry. We're cool with Jacoby.
Not in our plans.
We're cool with Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell in Washington. Don't you worry. We're good with Desmond Ridder in Atlanta. We don't need Lamar Jackson. We're chilling. We're chilling over here. If this does drag out post draft, that opens a lot of things for certain teams. Mm-hmm. One of those teams, God help us, if it happens, San Francisco. If this goes post draft, they would then be eligible to trade for him, because they can't trade for him as of right now because they don't have their own first round pick. So to match the tender, they need 2 of their next first round picks. If this goes after the draft, they can send their first in 24 and 25 to get Lamar Jackson if the Ravens don't, or if that offer sheet isn't matched, and it could happen. Mm-hmm. I, as a selfish football fan, would love to see San Francisco beat teams 50 to 10 each week and just see how far an OP team like that could go. And I think that someone like Kyle Shanahan and that type of offense that he runs, it would be fun to see. I think it is a very long shot, but the chances of it happening are greater than 0.
Yeah, I think that Trey Lance, and we've kind of mentioned his name a few different times here, is a really interesting player based off of what his NFL future looks like. Not just trying to make a lazy comparison or Baltimore trading for Trey Lance, but could you see something like that happen?
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I think that the 49ers are really in the mix to win now. Do I think that somebody like Lamar fits their scheme perfectly? It's hard to say. We've only seen Lamar in Greg Roman's offense to this point. So to say that he can't play is just a drop back passer, a traditional drop back passer, I'm not going to say that at all, man. I think that that's firmly in his range of outcomes. If he was running less and had more skill around him, the best version of any Ravens offense that we've seen with Lamar in it has been what? Hollywood Brown, who is healthy and then at times not, and really not a true number 1, and Mark Andrews. That's the most weapons he's ever been surrounded with. Just so to say that he can't operate this scheme or this scheme or this scheme or this scheme is really pigeonholing him into a spot that he does not deserve, because we just haven't seen it. So to say that he can't do it is really asinine, because you're really projecting things that we have not seen to this point. So, I don't think he's a perfect hand and glove fit for what the 49ers want to get out of their quarterback position. But, I think somewhere in Shanahan's head, he was like, okay, what could we do with the dynamic skill set of a rushing quarterback? What did I do with RG3? What am I going to do if we get Trey Lance in the building and this really hits? So if they were to revisit that type of whatever the thought process was behind Trey Lance and just equate that to Lamar Jackson, I could definitely see it, man. I mean, I think the most likely spot for him is probably the Colts, because Irsay is going to want to sell tickets. They need a quarterback. They've needed a quarterback for years and years.
Yeah.
And they've got I mean, it's a good situation he'd be airdropped in. Jim Bob Cooter is a good enough OC. We've seen him have success with various quarterbacks.
Is there a better name in the history of coordinators of football than Jim Bob Cooter, by the way?
As far as names?
As far as names, purely names.
Oh, that's a good one, man. It's a good one. It's a really good one. I think the only thing that can rival Cooter status is, as far as like a swag level, would have to be, oh god, what, I'm blanking on his name, man. He was McAdoo. Was the McAdoo slick back swag, man? Like after he got the haircut and stuff. That's the only thing offensive coordinator wise that consider a match just the ultimate swaggy name of Jim Bob Cooter. You'd have to have the hair of McAdoo, prime McAdoo.
Ben McAdoo and Jim Bob Cooter. What a murderer's row of offensive play callers. You mentioned the lack of talent that Lamar's had around him. Let me read you the list of wide receivers on the Baltimore Ravens roster since Lamar Jackson has been the full-time starter. You ready?
All right. Yeah, I'm preparing myself here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, in no particular order, here's how they go. Marquise Brown, who you already mentioned, Willie Snead, Seth Roberts, Miles Boykin, Chris Moore, Jaleel Scott, Devin Duvernay, Des Bryant, James Prochet, Rashad Bateman, Sammy Watkins, Tylan Wallace, Demarcus Robinson, Deshaun Jackson, Andy Isabella. Those are all players that have caught a pass at the receiver position under the Lamar Jackson regime in Baltimore.
Woof. It's terrible. That is really, really bad, man. Like I already knew it was bad, but to hear the context of the names he's been surrounded with, it's just, at some point you have to wonder, like you have to look at the Ravens and say, what in the absolute hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you're signing scrubs, you're drafting guys that have horrible profiles. Like for everybody that was out in the streets, I'm like, and then there was a hive, man. There was a hive about Tylan Wallace when he came out.
I was part of that hive, by the way. I loved him in Mobile that year.
I was not, dude. I looked at Tylan Wallace as like, I'm not buying what people are selling on this. Baltimore has been so bad at drafting guys and trying to even like sign guys. It's like whatever details you should have been looking at, you're looking at the wrong ones, boo-boo. Like it's been nothing but bad. And I know that like it sounds like I'm shading my dude Rashad Bateman, but I love Bateman. I love that dude so much. It's just the fact that like he has not been able to stay healthy. You've seen plenty of flash moments for Rashad Bateman, but we just haven't seen him be healthy. I quietly still believe this is the Bateman year. As bad as all these names, and I don't want to lump him into that comical cast of characters that you just rattled off. Like I think that he is definitely a tier above, and we just need health to see it. But outside of that, I mean, Baltimore's draft picks and signings with wide receivers has just been one wet fart after another.
Yeah, no, I mean when signings like prehistoric Des Bryant or 97-year-old Deshaun Jackson or wasn't ever really good with any team that he was on, but maybe he'll be different with us, Sammy Watkins, are your notable wide receiver signings either mid-season or before the season. That's a problem. Now, there was, I think it was the off-season going into 2021, where they were rumored to be on like every major receiving threat. They reportedly wanted Kenny Golladay. He went to New York. They reportedly wanted Juju. He came back to Pittsburgh that year. I think there was one more that they were in on that decided to go elsewhere. And I think a lot of people looked at that as like, well, they want to catch the ball. And this is an offense that doesn't really give them opportunities to shine. And that's understandable. I mean, Greg Roman's offense, we saw it. It's very run-centric, tight end-centric. There's not a lot of opportunities for guys outside of that number one spot to make plays. So I get why guys would be a little bit deterred from going to Baltimore for that reason. But we've yet to see Lamar Jackson with, you know, a real cast of receivers that'll really help him. And that's why, you know, a team like Miami would have made so much sense to me, and that would have been so much fun to watch with him and Hill and Waddle. And watching them against Josh Allen and the Bills twice a year, or Aaron Rodgers and the Jets twice a year, sign me the hell up for that. I was excited, and now we don't get it because, you know, they picked up Tua's fifth-year option, which I don't necessarily think was the best of ideas, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see. You say Indianapolis is the spot that you think he's going to, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Indy just because of their quarterback need. But I'll throw, man, I'll say this. If he were to land with the Commanders, that honestly would be
quietly very fun.
Like, you got Terry McLaurin there. You got Jahan Dotson. You have talent at the running back position. Like, they also can, I mean, considering what they would have to give up to get him and stuff, maybe they even add a tight end to the mix. If they don't have to forego, like, you know, not even a first-round pick, second-round picks, what have you. Like, that could be a really, really fun spot.
With Eric Bieniemy calling plays?
I don't know if we get it. Yeah. I mean, it's another, like, quietly sexy landing spot. But I don't know if we get it, man. The Commanders just feel like another shit show franchise that has no clue what they're doing.
Exactly. And that's why bad teams stay bad teams. Whenever you're saying we're committed to Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell this year, or the Falcons, the spot that makes everybody's been saying is makes a ton of sense for them in that horrible division. That would, if they got Lamar Jackson, they would absolutely be the favorite in that division right away. And they say, nope, we're good with Desmond Ridder. We're fine. Like, really? Like,
I don't know if it's Atlanta saying, look, like, we're just not at the point. Like, if they looked at themselves in the mirror after some of the Watson stuff previously and said, you know what, this roster is not at the point of competing yet. And if we do this and we tie ourselves to like a high-end quarterback as far as contract and money and stuff like that, can we still add to this roster and get to that point? And I think that's probably where they looked at themselves like it's a really, really sobering, like, so long stare in the mirror and said, nope. So, I mean, would I love to see Lamar Jackson throwing to Drake London and Kyle Pitts? Oh, yeah, that'd be a lot. That'd be a lot of fun. But I don't know if I see it actually coming to fruition. I mean, outside of Indy and maybe a sneaky Commander spot, I mean, where do you have him going, Bailey?
I think a very selfishly fun place. There's two of them. One, Detroit would make me very happy seeing him in that offense. Now, don't get me wrong. I hate doing that to my guy, Jared Goff, who I've grown to love over the last calendar year and have so much respect for. But there's a clear and obvious upgrade there. You put him behind that offensive line with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. That would be very, very fun to watch. The other place that I think would be extremely fun, they're in the midst of what looks like a mini rebuild right now, but if they are committed to staying competitive like their head coach says they are, Tennessee, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, yes, please. I'll take two. But I think that Detroit is one that would be super fun. Super fun. And that would completely, I mean, we've seen it already this offseason, kind of a changing of the guard in that division where Detroit's gotten a lot better on paper. The Bears have gotten a lot better on paper. Minnesota's kind of going through a mini de facto rebuild, and it's going to be the Jordan Love era now in Green Bay. Like, it's kind of up in the air right now. And adding Lamar Jackson to a roster that you've already, you know, smacked the table on and said, we are all in for this year, it would be a lot of fun to watch, man. I would enjoy that a lot.
I would love to see the Jets, but they feel like they're too deep in bed with supposedly the Aaron Rodgers move, which I was thinking about it this morning, Bailey. Like, doesn't it feel like it's been a few years since, or at least like months since Aaron Rodgers went on the McAfee show and said, like, yeah, you know, I want to go to the Jets and blah. And we were all just kind of watching it, like everybody in their collective, like, houses was watching that, like, with bated breath. And what's he gonna say? Is he gonna say yes? Like, how's this gonna unfold? Doesn't it feel like that was like a lifetime ago, and yet Aaron Rodgers is still sitting with the Packers?
Yeah. Hey Siri, play In Too Deep by Sum 41 real quick. This is if I never hear the word Aaron Rodgers and trade in the same sentence again, my life would be better because of it. And I'm so tired of seeing tweets every day saying, "Oh, they're getting closer to a trade. Jets and the Packers getting closer to." Shut the hell up until it happens. I'm tired of hearing it.
It's the news cycle, man. It's when the days that they don't have anything to talk about, you'll see the things floating out there about like, hey, this quarterback's visited one of the other 32 NFL teams in the pre-draft process. Or, hey, look, Aaron Rodgers is possibly going to maybe think about having a snack, breakfast, and then a workout. And then maybe he's going to flip through some of the Jets, like some of the apartment brochures for New York. Like, it's like,
do you remember when... Shit. Do you remember like the lead up to the decision with LeBron James? Like it was just LeBron watch for a few months. Like it's like, oh, LeBron James just took a shit. We'll take you live to his home right now.
Just as ridiculous as this.
It's absurd, and I'm so ready for it to be over. Now there's reports saying that it could be one of these things that gets finalized on the night of the draft. And if we have to wait through another 3 weeks of this, it's just get it done. Obviously, it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of if at this point. Just fucking figure it out.
I mean, to me, I'm like, what is the holdup? It has to be something with draft picks and stuff like that. Like, but at that point, you're kind of like, I mean, at this point, how have you not gotten to the ledge of, okay, are we going to do this or are we not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it's the same thing as like having dynasty trade discussions with somebody for like 4 weeks. And being like, well, we're still far apart, and sending somebody a text message and saying, so what do you think about this? Is the answer still no? Yeah, the answer's still no. All right, see you next week. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, what are we waiting here to, like, for one of them just to, is it a stare down? Okay, blink.
That's basically
whoever blinks first gets Rodgers, okay? Ready, go.
This is horrible for the audio offense. No, it's... And Rodgers, like, I get that everybody, for the most part, is just tired of hearing Rodgers, too. And, like, sure, like, it's gotten a little bit old to me as well. But at the same time, man, like, I think you're right. There should have been some sort of, like, hard deadline where, like, if we can't agree to this at this point, then if I'm the Jets, I'm saying we need to explore other options, because no way in hell am I rolling out Mike White or the Mormon MILF Hunter for another season at quarterback. I can't take credit for that. That's Mike Teniers.
That's the first time I've heard that one. Oh my Lord. Wow. I would have to give Mike a high five. Wow. That
virtual high five for
Mike Teniers, man.
Yeah, he's fantastic. But you've got to, especially with Lamar Jackson still in Baltimore, like, if this isn't done by X date and I'm Woody Johnson and I'm the front office of the Jets, I'm saying, look, this is either going to get done or we're going to go offer 2 firsts for Lamar Jackson, who has a lot more playing time than Aaron Rodgers does. To hell with being in too deep on this. I don't care if I'm the Jets.
That's how you stay bad as an organization.
Yes.
Not being willing to adjust and stuff. And it's like, at some point, like, why would they not even entertain that too? In the sense, if you're in trade negotiations and things like that, like, if the dynamic changes, the entire, like, situation changes, or you get a competitor, it's the same thing as, like, when teams are negotiating for contracts against themselves, or another team hops into the mix. Like, yeah, you could put your feet in the ground if you're, like, basically negotiating against yourself and say, I'm not going to do that. And then it becomes a game of chicken. But at this point, if you're the Jets, why in the absolute hell do you come out there with a statement and say, no, we don't, no. We're so much into this with the Packers that, like, you know, for good faith, it'd be bad if we pulled out of this. Like, for what? Like, this is going nowhere. You're progressing to nowhere right now. You're just in purgatory.
And if you're the Jets, what is the worst that can happen if you pull out of this and try to go get Lamar Jackson? Brian Gutekunst is going to block your number and call you a jackass in a group text. Oh, yeah, that's real. And who cares? Go make your team better. Go make a run at this.
Smoke screen out there that you could possibly do it. Like, anyway, but again, this is how, like, bad teams stay bad. When you're willing to sit here and do idiotic shit like this. So, you know, Whereas, like, opposed to this, like the other side of this coin is the Jets give up the farm for Rodgers. He plays 1 year and retires, and the Jets are sitting there just left holding the bag and
And I
saying,
think
"Well, we
I
gave up all
think
of our picks. Now we don't
that's
have a
the big
quarterback
one.
again."
I think that's the biggest holdup is like conditional picks and whatnot if Rodgers only does play 1 year. But if you're the Jets at the same time, though, like what do you really need in terms of draft capital right now? Like your team is pretty damn good. You got a damn good defense with very little holes. Offensively, very little holes. How much draft capital do you really need? Like go address the most important position, which is worth whatever draft capital you got to give up, and then go from there. Like I think they're trying to do things in reverse.
Like, if you had a problem with this, then why did you ever enter the negotiations with it? Like, if you had a problem with pushing all the chips, and I mean like all the chips to the middle, then why the hell did you ever? It's like it's playing with fire, you know? It's like why would you ever even broach the subject?
It's a lot like a guy who's just really lonely and wants a date with a girl that he's had a crush on for a really long time. And he's just throwing everything out there. He's like, I'll buy you dinner. I'll do this. And then once they get to dinner and whatnot, he's like, all right, I have a confession. I cannot afford this place. How about we split the check? And then the girl's like, no, like you promised. And now they're at this, like, they're figuring out if they're going to, go their separate ways or just end up at a Wendy's. Like there's, and right now,
dollar nuggets are okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
And that's what,
I mean, like,
that's what the Packers need to
anymore, but
I think that's what both the Jets and the Packers need to come together and realize is that dollar nuggets on a Frosty is a fine night. Yeah. We don't need to spend filet mignon money.
It doesn't make any sense to me at this point because, like, again, like what's moving the needle? And the only thing where I could think that like this is something that they're maybe waiting or whether it's the Packers side saying, okay, now we're going to wait until draft night is they want to see, okay, what picks do you have and who's on the clock whenever those picks come up and how can we mortgage that? Or, it's kind of like the same thing with rookie drafts and dynasty. It's like, well, depending on that guy I really love just already went. So as much as I like that kind of 13th pick, I don't really like the 13th pick now as much as I did, say, 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yesterday's price is not today's price, sir.
So supply and demand type of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that portion of it. But again, like, this just feels like something that, like, if this is going to happen, it should have already happened. And at this point, it's like, you're in a room staring at each other. When is the awkwardness going to break?
Eventually, they're just going to have to just shut up and kiss. I'm ready for it. The ending of this god awful rom-com. We'll stay in the AFC though, because as the resident Steelers fan of our media friend group, you and I seem to differ on a certain player, and that would be one George Pickens. I love George Pickens, and I think he's very good. He played well. I'm excited to see what year 2 brings of George Pickens. You have your reservations about him.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never been the biggest Pickens stan, and that's because it's not because I don't think that he's a talented wide receiver. It's just I don't think that he's nearly as good of a wide receiver as he's hyped up to be. I thought about that like during the pre-draft process. Like if you go back and you look at his college production, I thought it was overhyped. I think everybody turns on the highlight reels and watches contested catches and things that he does and says, "Oh my Lord, like he's amazing." But then when you look at deeper metrics, you're just like, okay, he's kind of just a dude. Like everything I've looked at on him this offseason has left me just as mildly meh as I was going into the process. Like last year, out of 82 qualifying wide receivers, you had George Pickens that was sitting at 62nd in open score, which they track as basically how often, how well did he get open. The players around him, just to give some context here, were Brandon Cooks, Greg Dortch, Jahan Dotson, Gabe Davis, and Marvin Jones. Not an exactly illustrious list for Mr. Pickens. And I get it. I get it. He's a rookie. But even if you're trying to, and that's where I think it really comes into play of trying to parse wide receiver play, just wide receiver play versus what did Kenny Pickett have to do with this equation? And if you look at the open score, and then if you look at like route win rates and stuff, George Pickens does not pop in any of that. Like
That is something that I will give you, by the way. Like the biggest criticism of Pickens is that he's got a limited route tree and he's not the best route runner. So I'm completely on board with you there. No arguments.
Well, like to me, it's hard to get enamored with a guy that last year he finished 91st in route win rate and 81st in win rate against man coverage, against a guy that everybody talks about like, oh, he balls out or he's a bully ball guy. Like he wins like 50-50 balls. Yeah, he wins in contested situations. The problem with George Pickens is, can he evolve past anything outside of being a deep ball kind of contested guy? And we haven't seen that. And to be honest, like my fear of George Pickens when he came into the NFL was, I was not a huge fan of him running deep patterns because there were a lot of things that like left to be desired in his game. You would not see him consistently stack corners. You would see him honestly never stack corners and guys taking better angles and corners that are smaller, less physical than him, giving him problems at the catch point. Now, did he play well at the catch point last year? Yes, but you are still seeing not a fully well-rounded wide receiver who is garnering and earning targets at the level that everybody thinks that he should, given his talent. And after his rookie season, I don't see anything that's changing where I'm at on George Pickens. Like, could he have a splash play, like, or good weeks here and there, depending on the corners that he's facing? Sure. Is he going to be a guy that consistently earns like a 20%, 25, like 22% target share in the NFL? That's the spot where I'm like, I don't know if he can get to the 20% mark and stuff. Like, I just don't know if he's good enough to draw targets at that high of a rate. And there's nothing after his rookie season that's telling me that he is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he isn't the most crisp of route runners. I'm not going to argue that. The thing that I will come back with is, while he isn't going to win, he doesn't have the win rate of, the elite receivers that you want. Those contested balls, what would be 50-50 for most guys, have become like 65-35 for Pickens. Now, you don't want that every time you throw to him. I understand that. I am intrigued to see what he can do in year 2, because I do think he is going to become the one in that offense. I think this is going to be Deontay Johnson's last year with the Steelers, to be honest. I don't think they're going to, I'd have to look at his contract again, but I'm pretty sure, because he got a 2-year extension last year.
Hey, you're making me pull it up right now because I'm curious. I haven't stared at his contract in a while.
Yeah, he got a 2-year, $36 million extension last year, if my numbers are correct.
Yeah, so 23, he's got. Yeah, I mean, he could easily be gone after this year, because this is the last year that he's got dead cap that sits over his cap hit. After this year, it flips, and the Steelers could actually cut him and save actually a round flat $10 million against the cap if they were to cut him.
I would be very surprised if Deontay Johnson is a Steeler in 2024. So I think that they're banking on George Pickens having a breakout year, similar to like what Juju had when that year with AB, whenever he led the team in catches and whatnot. It's just, can Pickens be a true number one? Because that's something that Juju kind of proved that he is not. So we'll see. But I would be very surprised if Deontay Johnson is there past this upcoming season. And
I got one for you, Bailey.
Sure.
How tilted would you be? Because I got to ask you about this, because the more and more I've kind of looked at like the way that the Steelers passing attack is set up and constructed. I think there's either one or two scenarios that I see playing out. Mm-hmm. Either Deontay Johnson has a massive bounce back season and reasserts himself as like a true number one in the NFL, plays well, all that kind of good stuff. Kenny Pickett takes a step forward. How tilted would you be if Calvin Austin came out of nowhere and was a second wide receiver on this team and it's not George Pickens?
I wouldn't. Dude, I don't care who it is. I just want them to play well.
I'm testing the Pickens love here, okay? Which you quickly pushed the Pickens love to the side and said, "Hey, if it's Calvin, I'll take Calvin. Let's go."
I'm not getting rid of the fact that I do like George Pickens a lot. It's just I'm on whatever side helps the Steelers win games. And now Calvin Austin, I don't know if he's going to be the number 2, because if you look at numbers historically for guys his size, they're not traditionally number 2 receivers. They're usually number 3, number 4 gadget type guys. And look, if Calvin Austin ends up being even like a reliable number 3, then cool. That's fine. Then you can roll forward and be more confident with the fact that he can take a step forward and be, somewhat of a reliable number 2. Or if Pickens plays well and you think he can be a reliable number 1, you can go out and get somebody else who could be a number 2 and keep Calvin Austin in kind of the same role. He didn't play at all last year because he had an injury and they kept him out. So he redshirted last year, and we'll see what he can do coming into this season. But he's got ungodly speed, and if they utilize that, which, by the way, it's kind of what the Steelers have been missing. Like, Matt Canada's offense, it's a lot of dip and dunk type stuff. And if you can get Calvin Austin on just a little slot slant or a little pop screen or whatnot, he's got space. He's going to turn, what would be a 6-yard gain into a 12-yard gain and keep the chains moving. So if he lives up to what his potential is, that's why the Steelers drafted him. I'm excited to see what he can do. And I think that, a lot of Steelers fans have kind of forgotten about Calvin Austin, but I'm ready to see what he can do.
I mean, for a wide receiver that, like, yeah, I get he was older and a lot of different metrics and stuff like that tell you that, like, the ceiling is not immensely high for him.
Yeah.
The other side of that coin is he was 18th in PFF receiving grade in his final year in college and 19th in yards per route run. So talent's there as far as the size goes and stuff like that. Like, I think we are seeing more of a changing of the diagram as far as, like, thinner receivers, smaller receivers consistently winning in the NFL. Now, a lot of that comes down to you're not seeing nearly as many man teams and press teams and things like that. So with more teams converting and running at least like half to 60% of their snaps on the defensive side in zone, then it's allowing a lot of these other receivers that, like, back in the early 90s when it was like, okay, are you big? Are you fast? Can you run? Okay, you can play outside. You can play X. And everybody else can't.
Yeah.
I think you're seeing that the NFL also, things are changing in that aspect to where we're not just like totally writing off guys that are 170 pounds, 180 pounds anymore of where they could play and what they could play and how high their ceiling is. So, it's somebody that I think that has kind of been swept under the rug. That I think that, honestly, if Pickens doesn't take the mantle, or, maybe Pat Freiermuth doesn't take the mantle as a second option in this passing attack, there's an easy path for Calvin Austin to do so.
It's all going to come down to what does Kenny Pickett look like in year 2. And for the life of me, I will never understand why Mike Tomlin brought back Matt Canada. It's, continuing to take a horse to water and trying to make him drink. You can't make a horse drink. I don't know. That is one thing when it comes to Mike Tomlin that he is very, very not good at, and that is hiring coordinators. We'll see. It's going to come down to, can Pickett take the next step? And I hope he does. I've had my reservations about Kenny Pickett. In the last month of the year, he looked good, albeit it was against, teams like Atlanta and Indianapolis and New Orleans. Like,
excuse me, New Orleans had a good defense last year.
New Orleans did have a good defense last year. However, those other teams were the dog water of the NFL.
That's fair.
And playing a Baltimore team where they were ungodly bad after Lamar Jackson got hurt. And it took them, like, the last drive was phenomenal. He made his 3 best throws as a Steeler on that drive. He had one to Pat Freiermuth, one to Steven Sims, and then that, however the ball got to Najee Harris in the end zone, it did. Their offense was non-existent for the first 57 minutes of that game. So, and the same thing for the Raiders game. Like, he played not good against the Raiders until that final drive. So while we can make the argument that he might have this clutch gene in him, I would prefer if we didn't have to see it every week and he could put together a complete game. Can he do that going forward consistently? That is what will be the determining factor of the 2023 Steelers.
That's fair. I mean, I've had my reservations about Pickett since, like, as a prospect. Like, I've said it, and I will say I was surprised to see the numbers for Kenny Pickett, and I tweeted this out a few days ago. I'm really big about, look, we all need to stay liquid as far as how we look at players and takes and all that kind of stuff. And when you get new information, you can't just shove it under the rug. Like last year, I look, numbers were telling me that Geno Smith might be actually good. There are tweets in the reserve out there. You can go Google them right now, people, where I was like, oh, look, Geno's numbers were actually quietly good last year. And not saying forecasting the type of season that he had, but looking also through the similar lens of, okay, we need to sit here and stay fluid on our evaluations of players. Can players still get better in the NFL? Can they grow in their games? Yeah. And so I'm not going to take anything away from Kenny Pickett over his final 6 games. The dude, everything that I look at and care about, he was fantastic on that point. And people will push back at me about like, okay, well, yeah, but you're also talking about a guy that did not throw for over 200 yards in any game. And like, that shit doesn't matter, man. I'm not box score chasing. Like, there are other parts and pieces to quarterback play and numbers that I care about a lot more than did he stuff the stat box? Did he stuff the box score and make you feel all warm and fuzzy? Like, because what I look at over the final 6 weeks, Kenny Pickett was first in PFF passing grade. He's fourth in big time throw rate. He's first in deep passing grade and 7th in EPA per play. Like, all of those numbers are freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
For a 6-game stretch where he got like basically run through the damn gauntlet at the beginning of his rookie season. And then you saw a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and he played all of these numbers. If I were to go off of these numbers, I'd say, wow, Kenny Pickett really could take a step forward in year 2. And I'm not really going to shy away from that. Like, I'm not going to go overweight and be like, start kind of like buying Kenny Pickett jerseys and, get his number tattooed on my right ass cheek or anything like that. But do I think that there is a sliver of hope for Steeler Nation and saying, okay, could Kenny Pickett turn out to be a guy that, like, I've always talked about Kenny Pickett as a guy you can win with, but not because, like, he's not a guy you're ever going to win because of. And I mean, maybe I'm taking an L on that. We'll see.
I think that there's still a ceiling on Kenny Pickett for a few reasons. One, he doesn't have a big arm. He's never going to be Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, that tier. However, can he be Derek Carr? Can he be Kirk Cousins? Can he be Dak Prescott? I think so. And if that's the case, I will gladly retort and I will gladly take a step back and say I was wrong and incorrect. Yep. Good for Kenny Pickett. And I think that's what people kind of get lost in translation, is that they think I want Kenny Pickett to be bad, which makes no sense as a Steeler fan, wanting a guy to be bad. But he did show a lot in big moments last year. Like I talked about the Ravens game that they won, but even in Miami, it's like 4th and 18, and he's about to get rocked, and he just throws a dart in coverage through a window this big that Freiermuth catches. And yeah, like, it's plays like that give you that hope and make you believe. Now, I do think that people go over the top too much and say, oh, Kenny Pickett's him. There's no, but can we retire that phrase, by the way? Can we retire that phrase? God damn it, do I hate that fucking phrase. He's him. That is the most annoying phrase. I already said fuck, so I'm going to keep saying fuck. That is the most annoying fucking phrase in sports. I'm so goddamn tired of any time a guy makes a play. He's him. Shut the fuck up. Holy hell. He can be good. And I fully accept the fact that Kenny Pickett played well in moments. Let's stop with the whole, he's him. Hey, shut up. I think he can be good, but there's a fine middle ground there between saying he's dog shit and he's the second coming. Like, we can meet in the middle here.
You got me. Like, I'm sitting here doing like a Twitter search right now. I was like, I don't think I've ever tweeted he is him. Like,
I don't think
I've seen a whole lot of tweets, but I was like, I don't think I've ever done that before. So I got to sit here and see, like, am I going to get chastised for that? But no,
I don't think I have here.
It is not. It's not been a phrase. My go-to phrase is not he is him.
Let me see if I have.
I was going to say, Jarrett, are you going to cell phone your?
No, actually, I tweeted out.
Did you?
I tweeted out January 14th this year. In quotes, I said, "X player is him" is already the most overused and annoying phrase in sports. So I'm actually coming back to.
Nice.
Coming back to I hate it, dude. I hate overdone tropes like that. It is the most annoying thing in the world. What a time to be alive. I have started doing a thing before we close out shows where we do power rankings, top 5 of any category that I think best suits the guest I have. You and I are both lovers of metal music.
Ooh.
And I think that this would be a good opportunity to rank our 5 favorite metal bands. What do you say?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Off the cuff. So I'll give like my number 5, then you can give your number 5. I'll give my number 4. So we each get a little bit of time in between each pick.
Okay.
And
Okay.
these don't necessarily even have to be in order, since I always put the guess on the spot. Just as long as you have 5 in your head, we can just kind of roll through it. But I know what my top 3 are and what order they are in. But the bottom 2 are going to be definitely interesting. So let me pull up my little thing here real quick.
You
My
got me rolling through my head about like who's going to make this list.
Yeah, we'll take a minute and like scroll through our respective Spotify's, and we can just kind of put it together in our head and I'll keep talking into the mic so we don't have dead air for our podcast listeners. By the way,
Are you kicking this off? Or are you going to start, or am I starting this? Who talks first? You talk first. I talk first.
Yeah, so I'll give my 5, like my number 5. Then you can give your number 5, and then I'll give my number 4. You give your number 4, and so on.
Okay.
All right. So I've got 4. I just need one more, and I think I'll be good. It's funny because there is one band that I love right now. They're not a metal band by any means. The 1975 are fantastic. I don't know if you've listened to the 1975.
I have not.
They're I don't know how to describe them. They're just great.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to throw this out for you, and I want to see. I'm going to be very, very sad if you don't put Amity in the top 5. If Amity.
Oh, don't worry. They are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Just throwing it out there. After all the puff and praise, can be very, very sad if they're number 5 or they don't make the top 5 here, Jarrett.
No, they are. I love the Amity Affliction. The only concert I've ever cried at in my life.
That's awesome, man. That's something.
That was about a year ago this month. Yeah, when I saw them live. Okay, I think I've got a 5, and I've got an honorable mention even as well. So, honorable mention. I will say Hollywood Undead, because I grew up a Hollywood Undead kid.
Okay.
And more of their newer stuff leans into the rock and whatnot, but they have too much like rap rock stuff throughout their stuff. I can't consider them like a fully metal band per se, but they are definitely an honorable mention, and I love them. But number 5 is going to be Rammstein.
Really?
Well, I love Rammstein.
Really?
I fucking love that.
Wow, that's not one that I thought I was gonna make. Wow. Okay, hold on. Give me the case here. And outside, and you can't use Du Hast as part of your.
I don't need to use Du Hast.
I'm just saying, you can't use that. Give me the case.
When I don't know what they are saying. If you don't know who Rammstein is, by the way, they are I believe, German metal band.
Yep.
And obviously their songs are in German. I don't know what the hell they're saying, but when I hear their music,
how does that make the top 5 if you don't even know what they're talking about?
I listen to Rammstein purely for the music itself. It is absurdly good. Like I was in the gym the other day, and Like Zeit came on. I could have ran 90 miles through a wall, and I would have been still okay, dude. Obviously, Du Hast is the one that gets the most love because, for one, it's like the it's the second best song in the history of music without any arguments, right behind Dragula by Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie's great. Don't give me that look. So obviously, Du Hast is great. Like Zeit is really good. Let me pull up just my back catalog that I have of.
I'm kind of throwing. I don't know, man. Like you started this off with like you threw basically it's just like a blender at me, man. Like
Deutschland, Dick Titten, all of them, just great songs by Rammstein. You might not know what they're saying, but if you just need something to purely just get you ready, turn on Rammstein. They're my number 5.
All right, we're starting off on a questionable foot here. There's so many good bands that I listen to that like I could put in here as like an honorable mention, like a number 5.
Yeah.
Like I want to put damn it. I really want to put like looking through all the bands that I listen to, like I really want to put Polaris in there. If anybody's ever listened to them, they're freaking awesome.
Polaris is good.
Polaris is absolutely fantastic. I almost like kind of want to put Memphis Mayfire in there, but I can't. I'm just thinking of like catalogs of albums and who can I listen to in its entirety and stuff. You know what? I'm gonna go controversial. I know that their lead singer is I'm not gonna say he's a great human and all these types of things, but one of the biggest like metal bands that got me into playing guitar and really into the metalcore genre in general. I'm gonna go with number 5. It's gonna be As I Lay Dying. I do not like Tim. I'm not gonna say that I like Tim, but that does not change how I feel about their music.
Fill me in on
Um,
this As I Lay Down. I'm not familiar with this.
so Tim Lambesis is their lead singer.
Okay.
Probably near or right after the height of their popularity. Dude was on like steroids and stuff like that. Went and basically tried to hire what was an undercover cop to murder his ex wife, and then went to prison and all kinds of stuff like that. So he is since out of prison and now has like supposedly turned his life around, and he's like a substance abuse counselor and stuff like that and things like that. But so not a fan of Tim. Although I will say, like, just they are, when you think of quintessential like metalcore of like the late like or 2000s era, like just like your tried and true like metalcore sound, As I Lay Dying has to be in that. Their guitarist, who's no longer with the band, Nick Hippa, is one of the best guitarists out there. Like I love what he's done. So As I Lay Dying is number 5. I'm gonna sit here and throw that out there. I will say, and I know they're gonna be in your top 5, but they are right outside of my top 5, Jared. I'm gonna throw this out there.
Okay.
And then this only comes down to I have absolutely loved their last 2 to maybe 3 albums, but I wasn't as big of a fan of some of their catalog, especially some of the early stuff. But I will say, because they're going to be in your top 5, I will say Motionless in White is going to be my honorable mention here.
No, it's a little bit heartbreaking for me. I understand, though. I do understand.
I'm going to say this. Now, if they were to have if they would have made 2 albums back to back with how I feel about their last album, and the name of their last album is absolutely escaping me.
Scoring the End of the World.
Yes. If they would have made 2 albums in concurrent, like back to back, that would have been to the level of that album, then Motionless in White would be probably in my top 3. I love where their sound is going.
They have so I'll get into more Motionless in White because you're right, they are in my top 5, and then I'll retort when I get to them. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Retort away, sir.
So, like you, there are a lot of bands that could have been like in mine. Like I could have put Beartooth in mine. I could have put maybe We Came as Romans. I like We Came as Romans.
Oh shit! I didn't even think. Damn it! That's a good list. Damn it.
Dance Gavin Dance, maybe. Like there's a lot of bands that are. A Day to Remember isn't going to be in my top 5. I like
Day to Remember is not going to be in my top 5, but they could easily be in my top 5.
Yeah. But number 4 for me, I have adored everything that they have done for the past 3 years or so, and that is Dayseeker. They are my number 4.
Oh, that's a good call, dude.
I heard
their last album is such a face melter. It's so good.
I found Dayseeker at a point in my life when I needed Dayseeker. So like I found them like 2 months into a breakup. That
oh man, yeah, that's hard. That is some legit.
If you hear Sleep Talk when you're going through some shit, that will just
dude. Not even that song. Give me Crying While I'm Dancing.
That
song will just uppercut you straight in the heart chamber, dude.
There's so many songs that they have that are just relatable and
like
make you feel like you're understood, and and their lead singer Rory Rodriguez has the voice of an
dude.
angel.
His voice is amazing. Like it is absolutely awesome. Like his range and especially the high end of his register is so damn good, man. Like they, I liked some of their earlier stuff. When they came out with Sleep Talk, I was like,
fantastic.
Love y'all. Love it.
That entire album is just really, really good.
Yes. Very, very well done from start to finish.
So Dayseeker is my number 4. And if you're not somebody who's like all that into metal music, I assume you're probably not listening at this point, but if you're a fan of either Debro and I, but if you're a fan of Debro and I, and you stuck around just to hear what we say, and you don't necessarily like metal music, I highly recommend you listen to Without Me by Dayseeker. It's not much there's not a lot of like screaming in that song per se. So I think that you would enjoy that. But yeah, Day 2 is my 4.
It's a powerful song.
It is very good. So that's my number 4.
Okay, so I gave my number 5. My number 4. I'm gonna go with Wage War.
Great choice, D-Bro.
Wage War is so fantastic, dude. I love them
I have a special place in my heart for Wage War because Wage War, and they are the reason that I started listening to metal music. However, they aren't in my top 5 because I don't have like a big back catalog of them that I listen to too much.
I have every album and I listen to them, and I got into them, Jarrett, whenever one of the times this last season, I got COVID in the middle of the season, and I was basically down for the count. I was sick the whole freaking week, and I was just laying in the bed, and I was like floating through Instagram, and somehow I stumbled upon Wage War, and I was like, how have I never listened? Like I had heard the name of the band a million times, and I had known about them, but I don't know what threw me off about them, and I never went back and listened to any of their stuff. I like happened to stumble upon them because of like an Instagram ad, and I just like started listening to their stuff, and I went like way down the rabbit hole, and I was like, holy shit. Like, how have I not loved this band for like, how was I not in on this band like early? And just their entire catalog is so good, man. Like they're actually playing in Dallas this weekend, which I'm trying to talk my family into going to. But side note, we as a family go to a lot of metal concerts. Like even my 5-year-old loves it. Like we treat it as a family thing. But they their entire catalog is fantastic, man. Like their newest album is awesome. Like in the sense of like all the various, like basically it shows the wide range of their talents, and you got bangers in there like with some influence of like some Slipknotty kind of stuff with like Manic, all the way on to like Godspeed. I
fucking love that song.
It's you cannot drive like around town and be listening to Godspeed and not be like windows down, like you're screaming the song, you pull up to a red light and the person next to you, you're just like, yeah, yeah. Like that's exactly what happens, dude. Every time that song comes on.
The reason I got into metal music, it was like going into my like junior year of college, maybe. I mean, I was already into it a little bit. But I was only strictly listening to like 1 or 2 bands. And my friend turned on Gravity by Wage War, and I loved that song. I was like, oh my goodness. And I was like, all right, you know what? I need to like fully invest myself into like getting into this genre of music. So special place in my heart for Wage War. I will start listening to more of them because you just put them over really, really well, and I want to hear more of them. So you've talked me into it.
Dude, they are fantastic.
All right. That'll bring me to my number 3, which is the Amity Affliction.
There you go.
They are the first band that I like got extremely into when I started listening to metal music. Each of their last like 4 albums I can listen to front to back, and I will not skip a song. So their lead singer Aaron has such a just impactful, very good range of vocals. Joel, who's like their screamer, their non-clean vocal guy, is just so damn good. And like I said, they are the first concert that I have been to and I cried in the middle of, because they were playing, what song were they playing? I Bring the Weather With Me is what they were playing.
Oh man.
And it was the part where they're saying, place the pennies on my eyes, and like they just like made everything like quiet, and all that was happening was like the crowd was singing. And it was just so awesome. I love the Amity Affliction. If you're a metal fan and for some reason you haven't listened to them, please go listen to them. They are fantastic. So
I love them. The one of their songs that always gets me is I'm trying to think of the name. It's off the same album that they put out with Pittsburgh. Death's Hand. Dude, Death's Hand gets me. The part in the breakdown when they right before the breakdown starts, and he says,
hey, Death,
look it up. Hey, Death, get fucked. Is absolutely riveting, dude. Like you want some shit that will like make you just headbang until your damn neck snaps. Like that breakdown is just
At that point in
so
the
good, man.
concert, everybody knew it was coming. Everybody's just reaching out to the stage and just simultaneously just going as one. It was one of the coolest experiences I've ever been a part of.
Their stuff just has like a great feel to it, like in the sense of like there are just extremely raw and brutal moments in their music, and then there's
Yes.
also catchy moments, and then there's stuff like the voicemail outtakes in I'm forgetting which one, where he like on the voicemail, like it's like his friend calling him and leaving him messages.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's gonna bother me now. Let me go through.
I'll have to go listen to it later and DM you, but their stuff is just, it's really, really powerful. My number 3 is going to be a band that I love their entire catalog, and I love where they're going with their sound. We've been to see them once live, my entire family, and we're going to go again when they come here. I think it's in May. I love every single thing that I Prevail is doing right now. Love them. And like their music it's almost like genre shattering, like between their heavy stuff, what they have done in the musical leap they have taken in their last, I'd say 2 albums, Trauma and their newest album. It has just been fantastic, man. It's the ultimate, like, they have buildups, they have great spots, like they have really, really catchy songs. Like,
Yes,
you cannot sit here and listen to Bad Habits without like just it taking over your soul.
I'm having trouble holding still thinking about Bad Habits.
It's so good, dude. But all their music is so fantastic, man. Between that, and they have such a good playlist of like between things that are just so damn heavy and in your face, and like if you listen to like Bow Down or Gasoline, like those songs, like if you don't want to get up and try to break some shit with a hammer, like something, you're not alive, dude. Such a good band. So I Prevail is number 3 for me. Not even like going back to like their earlier stuff, like if you listen to like Stuck in Your Head or One More Time or something like that. Like that stuff, it doesn't even sound like the same band from their last 2 albums, and it's so freaking catchy that like it's really cool to see where they've come with their sound and where they're going.
I am a big I Prevail guy. They just missed the list. I did mention them in the while I was scrolling through. Fun fact: Carrie Underwood, big I Prevail fan. For those who did not know,
Really?
Yeah, I can't remember who or why they showed
as
me this.
She should be.
Yeah, but somebody had asked her about like the music that she likes, and she's like, "Actually, I listen to like a lot of like this band. It's like a screamo band called I Prevail. I love them." And I was like, "What the fuck?" Carrie Underwood likes I Prevail. That's great.
Hey, she's got props for me.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So my top 2, they seemingly like flip flop a lot. It just depends on the day. But number 2, as of right this very moment, is Motionless in White.
Okay.
Motionless in White is.
I'm not gonna hate it, dude.
I can't say enough about Motionless in White.
They're again another band that I love where their sound is going. Like, and a lot of people, I think their last album came out to a lot of fanfare, but then there were also people that like were detractors because of what Chris is doing with his voice and some of their song structures, and you know, the Boo Birds being like, oh, you know, you're going more radio, or like some of their songs like sounding kind of Breaking Benjamin. Like
that's who they get compared to a lot.
I don't agree with it. Like, they're nothing like Breaking Benjamin. The fact that Chris's clean sounds something like Ben's, I mean, Ben has a really strong, powerful voice. So does Chris. But Ben can never scream like Chris does. And the guitar work is not even close to comparable. Like, Motionless is set. I want to see what they do with their next album. If they stack up another album that is as powerful as their last one, I mean, they'll be in my top 5. I'll put it that way.
So their last 2 albums, Scoring the End of the World, which came out last April, dude, I I don't have enough good things to say about this because there's such like a variety of stuff on here because like you said, like they do have like very like there's a
Mhm.
couple of songs that are like radio friendly. Like Werewolf is might
Oh
be
my
my
god, dude.
favorite Motionless in White song, but it's a clean song. And
Werewolf took me a while to get into, man, and now I love it. It's such a vibe song. It reminds me of like it was their take off of doing a song very like Thriller is the
yes,
way that I take Werewolf. It was their interpretation of doing a song like that, and they absolutely just crushed it.
they'll have songs like that, but then 2 songs later is Slaughterhouse, which they do with Brian Garris from Knocked Loose. And then
Yep.
later on in the album is BFBTG Corpse Nation. Both of those songs will melt your face off.
Or
And
Burned at Both Ends is awesome.
yes, like
Or
they have
Buried at Both Ends is I think it is.
some face melting
So
songs.
good.
And then
Cyberhex is awesome. That
Cyberhex is really
a
good.
bunch of like any song that has the traditional blah like
Yeah.
that's and I want to sit here and point that out. That is a common theme in a lot of bands that I love. Like you will hear blah breakdowns of Motionless in White and Wage War. If you go to YouTube and you just type in BLEGH breakdowns, I promise you Motionless will be in the video montage that you are watching, and so will Wage War.
They are both very synonymous with that. But I mean, you said their last 2 albums were Scoring the End of the World and Disguise. I go back to their 2017 album Graveyard Shift is when I really started getting into them. Eternally Yours is on that album, and
Oh,
that is
dude,
one of my
Eternally
favorite
Yours is so
songs of
good.
them.
504 is so good too.
There's Voices is on that album. I love that song. Rats is on that album. Like they have a lot of my favorite Motionless in White song, and I know I just said Motionless or Werewolf might be my favorite one, but Brand New Numb I think is always going to be my favorite one. They're doing covers now. They did a cover of Somebody Told Me, and it's better than the original version. Don't at me. It is so good. Motionless in White, absolutely just incredible. And they do Rhea Ripley's theme song from WWE, and that song bangs too. Demon in Your Dreams. Go listen to it if you haven't. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I started listening to Motionless in White like since their first album. Like Creatures was such a good album too.
Very good. They did a cover. They did a cover of bro. I forgot to tell you that. You got a
I didn't know that. But if you go all the way back, dude, like Abigail was such a good song.
Very good.
Really, really love that song. And then Count Choculitis, I think is what it's called, or Chalkitis is such a good song too. So no, I Motionless is such a good band, man.
Another band that's evolved a lot from when they started to where they are now.
Making my top 2 I've got to go with 2 heavyweights that just there's no way that I can talk about metalcore without mentioning these 2 bands. The first one honestly has to be All That Remains. They're going to be number 2 for me. Listening to This Calling was one of the songs that got me into like super freaking heavy metal.
Okay.
And how they've evolved their sound over time, and Phil's cleans, it's just been awesome. And he still has some of the just most visceral screams like you could just conjure up, man. I'm curious to see what they do with the passing of Ollie. They're one of their guitarists, which shout out to Ollie. Like my wife and I saw them when they came here to Dallas and played, and Ollie was super freaking nice. Like stayed after the show, was talking to people, shaking hands, everything. Like just super incredibly nice guy. So that was really saddening. So it's kind of curious, like do they continue to make music, what that looks like and stuff. But I love All That Remains. Their entire discography is just fantastic. Like if you go from like starting like Fall of Ideals, like there's just every freaking album is so good, man. Like I've listened to them.
There's a few songs that I have of theirs. I haven't listened to a lot of their back catalog, but
oh, dude, Fall of Ideals is like one of the quintessential like metalcore. It should be up on like the Mount Rushmore of metalcore albums.
Really? Okay.
I mean, This Calling is so good. Not Alone, We Stand, Whisper,
2 weeks.
Six is one of the best. If you never listen to Six is one of the best, catchiest damn songs ever. That's easily a top 3 song from them for me.
Okay.
2 Weeks is really good, but yeah, no.
2 Weeks is very good. I like that song a lot.
If you like so their
Now Let Me
album
Tremble,
before
is
that,
one of theirs?
some of their older stuff is also really good. Like The Deepest Gray is a really good banger. So is Focus Shall Not Fail. Just really good shit, man. All of their albums are so good. Like Overcome was a really good album.
One of their songs?
Hmm?
Is What If I Was Nothing one of their songs?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
that was on A War You Cannot Win. That
Okay.
was on that one. But every one of their albums is just has been awesome, man. So All That Remains is going to be my number 2.
I respect All That Remains, and they are a band that I will have to start listening to more of. I was going to say I have a few of their songs. Like I said, I'll keep them in mind.
Okay.
My number 1 is, like I said, this fluctuates between Motionless in White and this band. But the love that I have for this band is just very deeply
Don't say
rooted.
something like Du Hast. Don't say something like
No.
Don't do that to me.
I feel like I've kind of like come up with them. Like I saw them when like they were getting popular, and now they are a pretty popular band, and that makes me pretty happy to see. So my number 1 metal band is Ice Nine Kills.
Really? Wow. Okay. Explain. I like Ice Nine. I'm not as into Ice Nine as you are. But I'm curious. Tell me why.
I love the creativity alone with Ice Nine Kills. So for those who don't know, like they've been a band. Well, it's hard to say that Spencer Charnas has been the lead of Ice Nine Kills since like 2000. They started off as like a ska punk band, but around 2015, 2016, they transitioned more into a metal band. Every Trick in the Book is when they kind of started getting to like this horror themed niche that they are in. So,
I was going to ask you, is it the horror theme stuff? Is that what kind of pushes it over for you?
Big thing for me, yes.
Okay.
So Every Trick in the Book is
that's kind of what makes me fade them a little bit, because I don't get into that at that part of the aspect. Like they are extremely talented and really good at their sound. I think it's just it comes down to the subject matter in some of the songs, and it's not that I have a problem with it or anything like that. Like it's just it's not like it's not like my jam, so to speak.
Sure. But with Every Trick in the Book, this is when they started doing this like kind of horror based thing. So I think that album came out in like 2015 or 16. And by the way, completely new band members from that album. Like they've just gone under a ton of different recycles and whatnot. But so that was based off of each song was a different horror novel. And then with the Silver Scream is when they transitioned into doing songs about horror movies. So that album came out in, I want to say 2018 or 2019. And dude, they did all of the heavyweight movies on that album. Like they did Halloween, Scream, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. American Nightmare is forever going to be one of my top 5 songs ever. It's just every time that chorus hits, dude, I want to just hit things. It is great. And then with their latest album, The Silver Scream 2, Welcome to Horrorwood, they just continued that where it's more, every song is horror based, more band shake-up because their bassist, Justin, joined Motionless in White full-time after Motionless in White's bassist quit. So a little bit of crossover between Ice Nine Kills and Motionless in White. But as they've gotten like since Silver Scream, when they finally kind of came into their own as like a very popular metal band, I think this is the best sound that they have with the core of guys that they have, and they finally figured it out. Spencer is incredibly talented and creative when it comes to like all this horror stuff and how he incorporates it. Their music videos are real, like movie quality music videos that they have that are absolutely insane. They are so fun to watch live because they incorporate all of these props and stuff into their live sets. It's so much fun. Their music is really good. They're creative. And yeah, I think that being like a horror buff, that I think that is what kind of takes it over for me. So Ice Nine Kills.
I mean, I think that's a good. I honestly think you could toss that for both, like your top 2, like Motionless and Ice Nine. I think there's a thread there, you know. And I don't hate that. Like I think they're a very, very talented band. And I've liked, like, I have a lot of their songs like in the queue, like they're in the rotation for me. I think I've really enjoyed where they've kind of gone with their sound as well.
Yeah.
Because they were definitely not nearly as heavy as they are now. Like when they
Yeah.
first came out, totally you could honestly like listen to their first stuff and listen to their stuff now, and you'd be like, this is not the same damn band.
Exactly.
Not at all. So to see a band change their sound and really, while keeping the same lead singer too, like that's the other part. It's like they changed up the entire sound, but have kept, you know, their singer has not changed.
Yeah.
So to see that type of evolution from not only their music but from their singing and stuff it's a big deal. You know, like not everybody has that type of like talent to be able to do that. I'm not gonna break any glass. I'm not gonna sit here and shatter anybody's ideas and such, and really, you know, or crown a new king here. It's just gonna be. I'm going with the chalk, man. Number one has got to be Killswitch Engage for me.
Okay.
Has to be. I have listened to Killswitch ever since they first came out, like way back in the day, from like My Last Serenade and everything, and through having Howard, having Jesse at the front of the band and stuff, and all their different iterations of with you know, those two different lead singers. I love both of them. I love both albums. Every album that they've come out with those guys. I just so many different life moments have, like, it's funny when you tie music so much like to life, in the sense of like I can listen to certain you know, it's funny, like people, your memories are tied to certain things, whether that can evoke memories, whether it's a smell, a sight, you know, what have you, or songs. Like I can listen to, like, go through the catalog of Killswitch Engage songs and albums and get mental snippets of where I was when I listened to this, or like a moment in my life when this song kind of like really hit me. Like I've got Killswitch lyrics tattooed on me. So they have to be my number one.
No, that's true fandom. I didn't know who was going to be your number one. I didn't really have a guess in my head. But yeah, definitely can't complain with.
They're one of the bands that got me into playing guitar. Again, like I have one of their lyrics tattooed on my right arm, and it says the rising sun will always speak your name. And I got it in memory of a family member that died. But they're just a band that, like, their entire catalog is just, it's powerful. It's moving. Jesse and Howard's lyrics, their singing it's talented, man. Like if you want to craft a list of like the top, just as far as talent and range and vocal abilities, Jesse and Howard have to be inside that top 10, top 12. You know, so for both of those guys and just their longevity, and the type of show, because people still equate like so much metal music as like, oh, it's screamy, it's mad, it's whatever, man. I'm like, then you're not listening to the message, you're not listening to the lyrics, you're not listening to anything. Their live shows, and I don't know if you've ever been to a Killswitch show, Jarrett, but like the energy that they play with is just like, when you have Adam D, one of their guitarists, running around in Daisy Duke shorts, screaming about this, that, and the other, and calling you know, everybody a douchebag in the audience, it's electric, man. Like he's so good on stage. Really makes a show really, really damn good. So Killswitch is my easy number one. Love them so much.
No, I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of good Killswitch Engage songs that we don't have enough time to dive into all of them, but I'm trying to think of the ones that I like the most.
Oh, it's probably like Rose of Sharon, End of Heartache.
My Curse. Is that
My Curse? Yep. This is Absolution.
Fire.
This Fire. You can go, even if you wanted to go the cover route, you could do Holy Diver. So much good stuff, man.
No, I have a deep appreciation for Killswitch Engage just because of This Fire, and it was CM Punk's theme song for the longest time. As a wrestling nerd,
I love This Fire. It's a good song.
It's a great song. Great song. Yeah, dude, this was fun. We just spent almost as much time talking about metal music as we did about football, and you know what? Cool.
That's part of the program.
I'm glad that we finally did this. It certainly will not be the final time by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, it depends on what time you time your naps.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. I did. I fell asleep. I don't. I'm
It's
not.
funny.
Don't
I'm
have
the
it.
old man here, but you're the one that slept through a pod.
How old are you? I don't think. Do I know this?
Old enough.
Old enough.
39.
Oh,
39.
okay. I wouldn't have guessed
Old
that.
enough. Old
All
enough
right.
to not be young yet or anymore.
I turn. I'm gonna have a quarter life crisis this year. I think I've decided.
Eh,
I've just accepted. Not really
you'll get
decided.
it.
I don't
Okay.
think anybody just is like, you know what, quarter life crisis. That's gonna happen. I've accepted it. Is more what I've tuned into. That's gonna happen. I'm gonna turn 25, and then my life's gonna just go into a spiral.
Problems of a person who's not yet 30. Wow. You hate to see it.
That'll be a day. What do you got coming on Fantasy Pros, buddy?
Still in the weeds. All things dynasty. I'm freshening up all my rookie primers. So quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. I'm getting into more of the deeper parts of this class. I just added, and I'm adding. So I'm adding basically player profiles to all those write-ups. So you can find all of those on fantasypros.com and our dynasty draft kit, which is live. Which if you're doing startups or trades or what have, like, I mean, really, it's just a mountain of freaking information in there. Like, I couldn't imagine, even if you're a seasoned dynasty player, new to dynasty, you're thinking about getting into it. Really, there is content throughout all of that kit that can help you out. So really, I'm updating the primers, also doing some best ball content. Yeah, I mean, it's still just all things NFL draft, man. And you can find me on the Fantasy Pros main show, as well as I'll also hop in on the Dynasty show. And I did a show with Joe this morning for Betting Pros that should be out by now, or if not, it'll be out later today, tomorrow, covering all the draft props, possible landing spots for certain players, and how you can get and take advantage of the betting markets with it, man. But all things, everything, man. Football. I mean, the NFL is a 24/7, 365 entity now, dude, and there is content to be had, all different forms, facets, not just redraft, it's dynasty, and it is best ball, and the fun never stops, dude.
It never stops. I've never played Dynasty. I've thought about it. Maybe that'll be.
You should.
Get me in a Dynasty league, and I'll think about it.
You should name
Right.
just, in the glorious words of Val Kilmer, say when.
What movie is that from?
Tombstone, dude.
Did
Have
he
you
say that?
never seen
I've seen Tombstone. It's been a very long. I was very young when I
Oh
saw
my
it.
God.
I haven't seen it since I was probably like 7.
I should
probably. I think the moral here is that I should probably rewatch Tombstone.
Doc Holliday. I have only like legit characters make this shelf. We have Deadpool, Bob Ross Deadpool, Heath Ledger's Joker. There's Ron Swanson, and then there's Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday. And the fact that you cannot get a Doc Holliday quote obviously just hurt my soul a little bit, Bailey. Just gotta say
sorry. It's been 18 years since I've seen the movie.
Oh my lord! Now you're just making me feel old. Stop! Stop!
So, Sam Elliott's in that, right? I'm asking you a question.
Yes, Jarrett.
Okay,
yes,
I'm just making sure I'm thinking of the right Western. All right, cool. Yeah, I like Sam
the
Elliott.
right Western? Do you watch a lot of Westerns?
Yeah, I love Young Guns.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. You get a reprieve. Okay. I'll let you off the hook if you can name me 3 actors that have played in Young Guns, and I'll give you Young Guns 1 and 2. Name 3.
Dude, okay.
Fine. No, that's too easy. 5. Let's move up to 5 then.
I should be able to do 5.
Okay. All right.
So, and Young Guns and Young Guns 2.
Yeah, you get both. I'll give you both.
All right, great.
You get both.
All right. So we got Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, you're gonna go there.
Yep.
That's 1.
Got Charlie Sheen.
That's 2.
Kiefer Sutherland.
3.
Lou Diamond Phillips.
4.
And Christian Slater.
I knew you were going Slater. There you go.
Dave Rudabaugh.
All right, there you go. Faith is restored, Bailey. Faith is restored. You had me worried there for a bit.
Don't you worry. My Young Guns knowledge is vast and it is deep. I could have said, who the hell played Pat Garrett? It was the guy from CSI. Why the fuck can't I remember?
Oh, God, and he's in a few other things, too.
Yes.
Crap.
That's going to piss me off.
What the hell is his name? Oh, God, I gotta Google it now.
Yeah, that's fine.
We've gone off the rails here.
That's okay.
I gotta do it now.
God damn it! What the hell's his name?
Crap, what's his name? William Peterson. I did not know that guy's name.
That's
But
his name.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was kind of a
think it is.
letdown. You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Hold on.
I'm fact checking.
Yeah, fact check me here.
Young Guns 2 cast. All right, let's see here. We've got. Yeah, you're right.
I didn't know that guy's name. I would have never. As much as he's in, I would have never thought that his name is William Peterson.
There's people in that movie that I did not know were in that. John Bon Jovi has a cameo in that movie. Apparently,
does he?
Apparently,
where?
As does Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo, I just saw that. I was like, Viggo was in that. Holy shit! How did I miss that?
Learning a lot of new things about Young Guns.
Now I have to. Now I got to go back and watch the
movie.
I just got to look for Viggo. I do that Bon Jovi song in that also slaps. I gotta say that. Is it Wanted Dead or Alive that was in there?
Yeah, it's at the end.
Yeah. That slaps, dude. That you cannot think of Young Guns 2 without thinking of Bon Jovi.
I agree. I'm not the biggest Bon Jovi fan, but
I'm not either. I'm not either. But Wanted Dead or Alive is
very good.
Classic.
Very extremely fitting for that movie.
Yeah.
So my new to-do list is to rewatch Tombstone, join a Dynasty League.
I was like, don't lie. Like, if you're just now watching it for the first time, just go ahead and out yourself.
I promise. I have seen.
This is a safe space. If you have not watched Tombstone before, now's the time to sit here and air your dirty laundry. Okay.
My dad used to have like a ton of VHSs of classic movies, and that was one of them. I just haven't.
Make me feel old.
Haven't watched it in a long time, but I'll swear to whatever God you want me to swear to that I have seen it. So I'll rewatch Tombstone. I assume
you just brought up VHS movies and talked about your dad. Now I feel really old because I used to have VHS movies. I think I still have some.
I gotta join the Dynasty League. Listen to more Wage War. Those are my three to-do lists. This has been a lot of fun.
Sounds like you're gonna have a banner year, Jarrett. I don't know about a quarter life breakdown. It sounds like this could be the best year of your life if you accomplish all these things.
Speaking of movies that I had never seen or hadn't seen in forever, I saw Heat for the first time a month and a half ago.
Oh, Heat's very good.
Dude, very good. Definitely made its way into my top 10.
Yeah, Heat is very, very good.
You brought up Val Kilmer, and that reminded me of Heat.
If also to toss, I don't know how much are you into comedies.
For movie wise, name the movie.
If you want to go with a really good Val Kilmer comedy, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a really damn good movie.
I've not seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but I'll add it to.
It's fantastic. It's one of the first movies that RDJ did right after he got off the wagon.
Okay.
It is unhinged. It's a really good watch. It's a good watch.
My favorite comedy movie, and it's also one of my favorite movies, is Wedding Crashers.
Okay. I can feel that.
Yeah. Vince Vaughn just is a hilarious human being. By the way,
I mean, you mean Vince Vaughn, the Vince Vaughn that plays the same character in every movie, Vince Vaughn?
And it works in every movie.
And Owen Wilson plays the same character in every movie, and it works every time.
It works in every movie, doesn't it?
And Will Ferrell plays the same character in every movie, and it works every time.
I don't like when people talk about Will Ferrell movies and throw Wedding Crash. That's not a Will Ferrell movie. He just happens to be in the movie.
I said he was in it. I didn't say it was a Will Ferrell movie.
No. I'm not saying you did. I'm saying just in general when people talk about okay, rank your 5 favorite Will Ferrell movies. You can't. You're not allowed.
Cannot be in that though.
Wedding Crashers in that just because
the very end of it. He's like in the last 10-15 minutes of the movie.
He's funny, but it's not a Will Ferrell movie.
It's funny, but it's not a Will Ferrell movie. No,
it's absolutely not a Will Ferrell movie. Owen Wilson. Okay, we're on the topic of Owen Wilson. Have you seen the Grand Budapest Motel or Hotel?
No.
I beg of you, please watch it. He's not
okay.
He's only in the last 20 minutes of it. But what's the name of the guy who plays Dumbledore? Ralph Tinden? Is that his name?
Yes, I think so.
He's become my favorite actor, and I can't remember his last fucking name. Because I watched Grand Budapest.
Sounds like he's ingrained in your heart then.
Yes. Because I watched Grand Budapest and I just started watching movies that he was in because I like his performance so much. I watched Kingsman for the first time because he was the main character in it. Kingsman's really good.
Kingsman is so good.
Very good. And then I watched The Menu, which was kind of disappointing, but his performance was really good.
I'm gonna throw out one other movie, and I'm not gonna say I'm gonna lose faith, but I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed if you haven't seen this movie. And it's a new one. It's a new one, Jared. Okay.
Oh, if it's a new one, you've got a slim chance, buddy.
Okay. Then this has to be what you watch this weekend. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there then.
All right.
The Enormous Weight of Massive Talent is legit like one of the best, like top 5, top 10 comedies I've ever seen in my life.
Who's in it?
Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. It's that new one. Like, it is so
okay. It's that one that everybody's making a meme of right now.
It's so good, dude.
Okay.
It's so...
I'm a big Nick Cage
I walked
fan.
into that movie not expecting a whole lot, and I watching the entire movie, I laughed harder than I have in a very, very long time. If you like some really dry humor, and some of the things are kind of Office-esque, where it's almost like so like a little bit awkward, where you're like, oh shit, I gotta keep watching. Don't turn away. It's so awkward, it hurts me. But you gotta keep watching it. It's so good, dude. Nicolas Cage was fantastic in that movie.
I'm a big Nick Cage guy, so that is it streaming anywhere?
Oh, Jesus, you're gonna make me look.
If not, I can get on Vudu and get it.
I want to say, I mean, we watched it. It might be on Netflix, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
What's it called again? The Enormous Weight.
The Enormous Weight of Massive Talent.
Okay.
Nick Cage playing himself. Right. There is a fantastic and the scene that's getting just meme lorded to death is him and Pedro are driving. They're going on like kind of like a I want to say it was like a soul journey or whatever, but they're both tripping acid as they're driving through the countryside, and it's
that sounds lovely.
It's so funny, and you'll know when you see it. There's a scene with they're having to climb over this wall, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you get to it. I'm just gonna leave you with that. It's so good, dude.
I'm excited to watch this, and I will find it.
I got like tears in my eyes just thinking about it. It's so good.
I will send you a full review when I do watch it. I promise.
Yeah. You got to hit me up in DMs and let me know, man, because it's honestly one of the best comedies I've seen in a very, very long time, and I was not expecting it. It's rare when you go to like watch a movie and your expectations are low, because like a lot of nowadays, like, you see the previews and the build up and the Disney Plus stuff, and then you watch it and there's like this kind of feeling of letdown. That's one of the few movies I have watched in the recent like past, and I've been like, just didn't walk into it with a whole lot of like expectations. And when it ended, I was like, oh, it's so good. It's so freaking good. That's rare. It's rare.
All right, you're really selling this, so I'll go out of my way to find where this thing is, and
if you think it sucks, just lose my number, Jarrett. Okay.
I highly doubt. I think it'll suck.
No, I know, man. It's just so I don't want to build it up too damn much, which I've already done. But it's a fantastic movie.
Well, I'm ready for it. Go and read all of D-Bro stuff on Fantasy Pros. Watch all of D-Bro stuff on Fantasy Pros. Read all of my stuff on USA Today. Read my feature on Tyjae Spears. It was a lot of fun talking to him. And then in the next,
aren't you doing Bengals stuff now too? Did I see that? Yeah, timeline. Are you really not? Are you burying that lead? Are we not going to talk about that?
Yeah, SB Nation Bengals stuff. That'll be coming. That's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Bengals stuff. I'm a Steelers fan. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Wow, it won't be biased at all.
Here's the thing. I've never had a problem with like since I started doing this. Like, yeah, I'm a Steelers fan.
It takes your bias all out of it, man.
Yeah, it really does.
Fandom goes away. That's what people talk about. Like, oh, I'm a Saints fan. I'm like, yeah, okay, but that never enters into my analysis.
Yeah.
Like, I could tell you the Saints, like, if they're playing bad or they suck, they suck. Like, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and shy away. So,
you're a Saints fan? I didn't know that.
It is what it is, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Born and raised in Louisiana. Lifelong Saints fan. If you cut me, I will bleed black and gold. And yes, where is he at?
Somewhere
on the wrong side. There's Drew Brees.
Okay. Hi, Drew Brees.
Right next to Groot.
Always a pleasure to see you. So yeah, go read my feature on Tyjae Spears, which is on USA Today on Bears Wire on the Bears Wire section. And then in the next week or so, feature on.
Aren't you? Oh yeah, I saw that on the timeline. I was like, "Are you going to interview Puka?"
Yeah. So
you got to send it to me, dude. I'm a huge Puka stan, man.
Me too, and I'm glad that him and I were able to set that up. Great dude, really fun talking.
Oh,
to him.
he is fantastic. Such a good interview at the Senior Bowl. I'm rooting for him, man. I'm rooting for his draft capital to surprise some people. He's a damn good wide receiver. Damn good.
That write-up and everything, the feature on Puka Nacua, receiver from BYU, that'll be up and within the week. Reaching out to a few of his former coaches as well right now just to get more stuff. So I don't want to rush it. I want to make sure it's good. So it'll be up in the next week and I'll tweet it out. And yeah, I'll send it to you, bro. Why not? I think it'll be
awesome
good.
Awesome stuff, man.
Good talking to you, buddy. I'm glad that we did this. This is a lot of fun.
Oh, hell yeah, man. No better way to sit here and kick off a weekend than chopping it up with one of the best in the industry on a Friday afternoon, my dude.
You know what, man? You didn't have to say that. I didn't tell you to say that. That was really nice of you to say. And I appreciate it.
I mean, some of your musical leanings and some of your movie takes, could still be spit shine, but that's in there.
I wish to Christ I had Rammstein, like Du Hast by Rammstein, like in my music thing for this. I would have played us out to that, and it would have been. But I do not. Thank you.
I'm not gonna believe you're a true fan until you get like a Rammstein lyric that you don't even know what the hell they're saying tattooed somewhere on your body. Until that happens, I'm still gonna call you a fake fan.
I can. That is something that I could be talked into doing if I lose a bet.
Okay.
Get some.
All I heard was Google's mobile tattoo shops for next year.
The Senior Bowl.
Yep, we're gonna have to set it up.
I can. That's something I can commit to just to do. I think that would be funny.
I mean, I'm down. I'm down for any kind of drunken tattoo bets. Those are always on the board for me.
I'm in. We'll circle back around to this. Till then, everybody, appreciate you watching, listening, however you're doing it, whether it's on wherever you get your podcast, Believe Podcast, YouTube, Twitter, wherever. D-Bro, appreciate you, buddy. Love you to death. Talk to you soon.